Hello, everybody. Welcome to Between the Bumps Professional Wrestling Podcast, the pro wrestling podcast where we go between the bumps in the ring to discuss match quality, storylines, wrestling news, and even make predictions in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I'm your host, Christian Marrero. Thank you for tuning in. What is up, everybody? It is Friday, and you are tuning in to Between the Bumps. And as we do on Fridays, we are going to do the wrestler highlight of the week. Now, I want to make myself clear because I realized that calling it the wrestler highlight of the week could leave some doubt as to exactly what this discussion is supposed to be. So I'm not necessarily highlighting, wrestler highlights from this week's shows. That's not what I'm doing, no. The wrestler highlight of the week is where I take two wrestlers, one from AEW and one from WWE, and I pretty much just explain why I'm a fan of them, why I think they're doing great things, and where I see their career going in the future, and why I enjoy watching them on my screens. So it's not necessarily going to be a highlight from this week's Dynamite or this week's Raw or this week's Smackdown. It's more so just going to be me choosing two wrestlers every week that I want to put up on a pedestal and give some praise to. So with that out of the way, let's get started. I'll start with WWE as I did last week, and the wrestler I would like to highlight this week is none other than Mr. Money in the Bank, Otis. I love Otis, okay? Let me just say that clearly. I love Otis, and I get it, okay? He is a comedy act. Right now, he is a comedy act. But he's a successful comedy act. And that's really hard to pull off in pro wrestling, especially in WWE. And he pulls it off wonderfully. His storyline with Mandy Rose, not only is it feel good because he got the girl. You know, the guy that you would least expect to get the girl got the girl. And they just pull it off. Like, they just have this chemistry. They go back and forth with each other. They're very funny. They're just so funny. I go back to last week's Smackdown, where Mandy Rose dreamt of Otis seductively swimming through the pool and this, that, and whatever. And, Otis just pulled that segment off so well. It cracked me up. I was laughing and enjoying the whole segment all the way through. It really made me laugh. Otis just cracks me up. He really does. And, I get it. He's not for everybody. And I don't expect him to be for everybody. Because he is a comedy act. And he's very goofy. But here's another thing people tend to forget about Otis. Is, one, he's a real powerhouse. This dude was a real, champion amateur wrestler in his high school and college days. And he's, a great tag team wrestler. Heavy Machinery in NXT was one of the best tag teams, hands down. So, he is talented. He is. And I don't want the fact that he's a comedy wrestler to overshadow the fact that he is legitimately talented. He just gets his place. And I think that's what we gotta realize. He understands, hey, I am a comedy act right now. That's what they want to use me as. And so he understands what he has to do to get that over. Is just be as funny and entertaining and goofy as possible. And he pulls it off so well. He really does. He's such a lovable dude. I don't understand how you cannot be amused by Otis. I don't get it because I am so amused by Otis. His finisher is doing the worm into an elbow drop. And it's called the Caterpillar. That's funny. That is funny. And it is entertaining. I love Otis. Apparently Vince McMahon is super high on Otis too. And Otis has won the favor of the boss. Which, that's awesome. That makes me so happy for him. Because Otis as a character is a very useful character. Because here's the thing about him. Like I said, he is a powerhouse. So as goofy as he is, I could believe that he could go into that ring and toss around Dolph Ziggler the way he does. I can believe that Dolph Ziggler would be scared of somebody like that. And I'm using Dolph Ziggler as the example because he's in the feud with Dolph Ziggler right now. So I can believe that. And honestly, I can even believe that he could take advantage of that Money in the Bank, catch Braun Strowman at the right time, and slam Braun Strowman's big ass. Because Braun Strowman's huge. But like Otis isn't a small dude. He's shorter than a lot of dudes. He's only like, I'm saying he's like 5'10", 5'11 max. But he's a big boy. And he's a strong dude. He is strong. And he throws himself into everything wholeheartedly. He gives 110%. Every time I'm watching Otis, I feel like I'm watching the embodiment of a child who loves pro wrestling. Like, he's so passionate, and his passion just oozes through the screen. It really does. And that just gets me. I love when I can feel a pro wrestler's passion through their work. And here's the thing, in WWE, a lot of these superstars, I don't know, you get the sense that they're not happy where they are, that they're doing it for a paycheck. Not with Otis, man. With Otis, I feel like he's right where he belongs. And he knows that he is right where he belongs. Like, it doesn't feel like he is resentful towards WWE. He seems happy in WWE. He seems happy to be doing what he's doing. And from WWE wrestlers, that's honestly a rarity. Like, there's a lot of wrestlers who feel like they're just going through the motions, just waiting till their contract expires, looking at other places. But with Otis, it never feels that way. It always feels like he is just so happy to be there. Like, it really feels like his dreams have come true. And that just shines through him. And that just makes me so happy as a fan to get to witness that. Because above all else, I want these wrestlers to be happy where they're working. I want them to have work, make good money, and for them to be pleased with what they're doing. Because too often, these wrestlers are bitter and sad and just not happy. And granted, that's not their fault. I'm not blaming the wrestlers for that. If they're not happy, they have every right to not be happy. You know, you look at a team like the Revival, and you can totally understand why they were not pleased to be in WWE. You can totally understand with the way they were being used, with the way Vince McMahon perceived them, why they were not pleased to be a WWE roster member. You know, it was hard for them. But a guy like Otis, he seems happy. He seems like he's happy where he is, and I honestly think he could be with WWE for a very long time. Do I think he's going to be at the top of the card all the time? Honestly, no, but very few people are, and that's the good thing about Otis, is you can shuffle him around, and I'm pretty certain he will find a way to make it work and get over. I'm certain of it. I really am. Like, some people are saying that he's just getting this clout because of Mandy Rose, because of this, that, whatever. But all rumor and innuendo says the contrary. All rumor and innuendo says that Vince McMahon is very high on Otis. And I can understand. Vince McMahon's a goofy guy. Let's just be honest. Vince McMahon's a weird fella, okay? But once you've won the favor of Vince McMahon, you're good. You have a very good chance of succeeding and doing great things and making great money. Which at the end of the day, that's what this is about, I feel. That's what I feel this should be about. So, I really like Otis. And I think that his gimmick right now, his act, is just really good. And I love the fact that, you know, he got the girl at WrestleMania. He's Mr. Money in the Bank. Like, having Otis hold that briefcase, it sets a really weird dynamic because no one like Otis has ever held that briefcase. We've never had a full-blown comedy act just hold that briefcase. The closest we got was when Damien Sandow held it. But, like, Otis is a full-blown comedy act, so it will be interesting to see if he does win the Universal Championship. Now, some people are saying he's going to cash in on the Tag Team Champions, and that's what Otis said in interviews. But I don't know. With the way he's been going, I feel like they're more so positioning him to cash in on the Universal Champion. So, I like Otis. I really do. And I think he has a very bright future ahead of him. I think he is a versatile competitor because just as much as you can sell him as a comedy act, you could sell him as a big, beefy monster who's just going to beat the crap out of you and wrestle the shit out of you. So that's really a good thing. To be so versatile and to be so well-rounded, because he really is. He really is. You know, he's not just the comedy gimmick. He's not just the amateur wrestler. He's not just the big dude. He has all of these facets inside of him, and I think that will lend to his success. I really do. So, yeah. That's Otis, guys. Otis is the wrestler I want to highlight from WWE this week. I'm a big fan. And to you, Otis, thank you. Now, let's move on to AEW. And in AEW, this was a very easy choice this week. And I am highlighting someone who competed on this week's Dynamite, Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy. I've said it before. I've said it on both AEW podcasts that I have released thus far, that I believe that whatever that it factor is in professional wrestling, whatever that it factor is that makes you successful in this business, Jungle Boy's got it, and he's got it in droves. He really does. I think Jungle Boy is one of the most talented people on the AEW roster. I think if they give him a little more time to build his character and to learn how to cut a really good promo, because he's not terrible on the mic, but he's not quite there yet, I think he is going to be one of their greatest assets moving forward. I really believe that. I really, really do. I am such a big fan of Jungle Boy. I really am. And the match he had with Cody this Wednesday proves every point that I am trying to make about him. He's got it. He has it. Like, whatever it is, he has it. He has it. He is talented in the ring. He's so easy to get behind. Like, he has this natural energy about him that you just want to root for him. You just want to see him do well, but at the same time, he's so aggressive. He seems so hungry. Like, he seems like he is really working his ass off all the time to be better and better and better. I'm a big fan of Jungle Boy. I really think that he is going to be moving forward one of AEW's best pieces on this chessboard that we call professional wrestling. I really do. I think he is a valuable asset to have on hand. I think that they are using him properly right now because he's not quite in a main event role just yet. He is a mid-carder. But here's the thing about it. A lot of mid-carders end up being main eventers. A lot of them. I know WWE has gotten us used to seeing the same guys in the main event spot and the same guys constantly floating around the mid-card. But if we go back to the territory days, if we go back to the old days, Attitude Era, WCW, that is how you built a guy up. You put them in the mid-card, they get a bunch of good victories, and then you slowly transition them into the main event organically and over time. Because that's how real competitive sports work. You know, people climb through the ranks in sports, especially in AEW where they have a ranking system. And on that note, Jurassic Express is also really good. I think him being in that trio does not harm him at all. It just makes the trio better. It really does. Him, Marco Stunt, and Luchasaurus all have this great chemistry together, and they all work very well together. But that doesn't mean you can't send him off to do some great things as a singles competitor, and proof of that is Kofi Mania. Proof of that is when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship while still being in the New Day. And that's my point. Like, Jungle Boy is so talented that I think that moving forward, not only is he going to put on some of the best matches, but like I said, if he can just hone in that character, if he can just really reel it in, I really think we're going to see great things from him. I really do. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I was a fan of Jungle Boy. And I know this is going to sound like a hipster, douchebaggy thing to say, but I mean it, and I'm being 100% sincere here. I was a fan of Jungle Boy before I knew he was Luke Perry's son. I was a fan of Jungle Boy before I learned that he was the son of the famous actor Luke Perry. I did not know that when I started being convinced of Jungle Boy. I did not know that he was Luke Perry's son. So that did not have an influence on how I saw him or the superstardom that I saw inside of him. Because even Tony Khan on the Unrestricted podcast came out and said, like, hey, Jack, which is Jungle Boy, that's his real name, Jack Perry, Jack is one of our greatest assets, and I'm very excited for his future. And Tony Khan, when he says that, you know he means it, because he's so passionate, and he's just an encyclopedia of professional wrestling knowledge. So if Tony Khan is telling you, like, hey, this kid's got something, then I think you have to take that into consideration very heavily. I like Jungle Boy, man. I'm a big fan. He is one of my favorites in professional wrestling. When he won that Battle Royal to become the number one contender for the TNT Championship, to be Cody's first defense, I was so happy. I knew he wasn't going to beat Cody. I understood that. But I was just so happy that he was going to be put in with a main eventer, and he was going to feel special. And he does. Instantly, Jungle Boy feels more special than he did before that Battle Royal happened and before that match with Cody happened. I think he opened a lot of people's eyes. If you were not convinced of Jungle Boy before, I'm pretty certain you are now. And if you're not, you're either in denial, you know nothing about pro wrestling, or you're bitter. I don't know. Because I don't understand how this kid could not convince you. He's talented in the ring. He's super athletic. He's got a great look. Okay? That kid's a good looking kid. He really is. Jungle Boy is a great looking guy. I bet women love that guy. And that means something. Whether you want to admit it or not, that means something. Because just like male fans that I constantly see on social media fawn over women like Hikaru Shida, Penelope Ford, Allie, the Bunny, over their looks, women are doing the same for Jungle Boy. I guarantee it. I guarantee there are women who look at Jungle Boy and think, that guy's cute. I want to keep watching that guy just because of his looks. It happened with Randy Orton. It happened with Jeff Hardy. It happened with Batista. It happened with John Cena. Looks have an impact on your career trajectory. And Jungle Boy is a good-looking guy. He is. He looks athletic. He's not jacked, but he's lean. He's very athletic looking. And he's a good-looking kid. And that means something in professional wrestling, whether people want to admit it or not. Whether people want to admit it or not, that has an impact on your career. That really does. And so not only is he talented, not only is he easy to get behind, not only does he have this natural babyface energy about him that is very hard to find. It is so hard in 2020 to be a good babyface. It's hard. Because people love to shit on the baby faces. Everyone likes the cool heels. No one likes the baby faces anymore. But Jungle Boy, he's got that AJ Style feel about him. When AJ Style is working babyface. Or like that Daniel Bryan feel. Like they can work heel. And I'm sure Jungle Boy could work heel. I'm pretty sure he'd be successful at that too. Because he's so talented. But when he is a babyface, it's just so valuable. Because it's so hard to find those natural babyface characters that you just want to rally behind. It's hard. It is difficult. So a guy like AJ Styles, a guy like Daniel Bryan, and a guy like Jungle Boy, they have that natural babyface energy about them. They just have it. Whatever it is that makes you want to get behind them, they've got it. They garner so much sympathy so easily. And he's talented. That is where I keep coming back to because he's so very talented. In ring, he is one of the funnest competitors to watch. Like, I go back to matches that he had. This match is probably my favorite Jungle Boy outing. And it was the 10-minute match against Chris Jericho. The 10-minute challenge. Now, through the whole match, he just got slaughtered. Chris Jericho was toying with him. But then at the end of the match, he got that second wind. And like, he fought back. And he fought valiantly. And when Jericho had him locked in one of the meanest looking walls of Jericho that I've ever seen, he did not tap. For over a minute and a half, he did not tap. And that really solidified the fact that, hey, this guy, he garners sympathy. And he does it easily. Because I wanted nothing more that night than to see Jungle Boy overcome the champion of AEW at the time. That is how good he is at just garnering sympathy. He is a natural at it. I don't even think he's trying to. Maybe he is. Maybe he's far more talented than I'm actually giving him credit for, even though I'm giving him a lot of credit. Maybe he's even more talented and he has this all thought out. But I feel like it's just natural. I feel like it's the natural energy that he exudes. I'm a big fan of Jungle Boy, and I think Jungle Boy moving forward is going to be one of the greatest assets in AEW. I think that he is a main event star in the making. I think that AEW has landed gold with Jungle Boy. And I am very, very excited about his future. So, that's it, guys. Otis from WWE, Jungle Boy from AEW. I love both of them. I'm very excited for both of their careers. Well, everybody, this has been Between the Bumps Professional Wrestling Podcast, the pro wrestling podcast where we go between the bumps in the ring to discuss match quality, storylines, wrestling news, and even make predictions in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I'm your host, Christian Marrero. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys later.